Welcome back to Bible Quiz TV. This is Richie Nelson, and wow, what a prelim day. If you are a quizzer and you finished, great job. Lots of really incredible games that I was watching online. I'm bummed I can't be there in person. So I wanted to touch into what happened today. So first, I wanted to look at let's get this one over there so we can see it a bit better. All right, I think that's working for us. Okay, so here, Dublin, first 5 teams with over 200-point averages. That's totally insane. So many good teams in the brackets. Dublin had a 232 average. San Diego had a 210 average. The Brookbanks had a 201 average. Trinity 1 had a 220 average. And Naperville, coached by Jolene, had a 237-point average, with the highest average of the prelim day going to Naperville. The top individual quizzers that we're looking at from the prelim day, we have Jaden with a 120-point average and taking 14 of 30-pointers. Elizabeth Lee with a 116 and 11 30-pointers. The Brookbanks didn't have a dominant one-person quizzer, but they landed in 3rd and 4th positions. So really incredible day. They played a good, clean day, lots of quiz outs, and raked in with only 2 quizzers in over 200-point average. Madison Day with a 113-point average and 11 30-pointers. Camden Haney with a 126-point average and 14 30s. So he brought in the highest average of individual quizzers for the prelim day. Steve Joy, 124-point average with 12 30-pointers, and Shaylee Powell with 116-point average and 15 30s. So Shaylee, she hit and got correct the most 30-pointers for the day, which is also the team that had the most 30-pointers for the day. I think they actually tied. Trinity won. One of the other quizzers on the team grabbed another 30, so they had 15 as well. Really impressive turnout as far as who's going to land on top in the championship division over the next 3 days. This is going to be anyone's game. There are so many good quizzers. I think last year Sam Jabarez didn't do quite as good the first day as he did the second day. The averages went up on the second day, and maybe the quizzers now are analyzing some of how the question styles are going and how they performed, and coming up with a strategy for the rest of the competition that will optimize the point totals. Typically, though, the averages will drop in the second day from the prelims, and if that's the case, the biggest candidates are Camden, Steve, and Jaden at this point with the upper averages. But honestly, Shaylee and Elizabeth are not out of the running. Madison Day is going to, I think she's going to find it a little tough to catch those point totals, but she had an impressive day. And depending on how the tournament goes for her, it might she might land near the top. So let me blow this up actually. Okay, so the 10-point quizzers. Tahila Jabarez from San Jose had 21 10-pointers with an 86% accuracy. Valentina Immanuvel from Metuchen had 20 10-pointers in bracket A with a 74% accuracy. Abigail Elwine from Spokane had 24 10-pointers with 73% accuracy. Daniel Prakash from Hyattsville, 20 with a 79. These are the top two 10-point quizzers in each of the brackets. Bracket C, Katie Little was number 1 from Braeswood with 22 and a 69% accuracy. So she was quizzing fast and would have been scary to play against in the round. Bryce Helgerson from Sparta and Chris John from Marietta both had 21 10-pointers each. Chris having an 84% accuracy, which 84, anything in the mid-80 range for accuracy on 10s is very impressive in its own right. Moving on to bracket D, our 10-point champion for the day, Leah Grise from Bothell with 27 10-pointers and 88% accuracy. So she not only got the most 10-pointers, she also had the highest accuracy of 10-pointers as well, which is very impressive. And Caleb Song from Lexington had 22 with a 75% accuracy. In bracket E, Joshua Sullivan from Trinity Black with 21 10-pointers and 71% accuracy, and Sean Timothy from Naperville with 18 10-pointers and 94% accuracy. So, excuse me, Leah Grise didn't have the highest accuracy. Sean Timothy did, outscored her into the 90% range, which is very, very high accuracy, but the lowest numbers on the bracket as far as all of the other top two 10-point quizzers go, which the higher accuracy usually means a more reserved, slower hitting speed. Not always, but typically there's more of a reserved hitting speed that results in the higher accuracy. The teams with the highest 10-pointers, Dublin had 39, Spokane, misspelled that, has 38, and Bothell 37 10-pointers. The teams with the most 20-pointers, which is interesting, 30-pointers are flashy and they are important for the game at nationals, but 20-pointers are kind of, the machine of winning the rounds at nationals. And so Trinity won, who landed in the top of their bracket with 40 20-pointers, Trinity Black with 39, and San Diego with 38. What's interesting as well is that if you look here, on the brackets, you have Bothell here, who went undefeated. Now, their 20-pointers weren't insanely high, but they were high for their bracket. 34 isn't shabby, but their 30-pointers were very low, which meant that they were letting the other team take most of the risk of hitting the 30s, and they were that accuracy of 83 as a team, very high, very good, and they were collecting and winning the matches off of these 20-pointers. So a lot can be said for the teams that focus on getting and collecting all of those 20-pointers. Great job to those teams. And Trinity is clearly here really learned their 20-point game well. Both of their teams raking in the top two for the 20-pointers. So a couple of the teams that I think are in the running to win the challenger bracket, because what happens on prelim day is a few good teams get bumped into challenger bracket, and it's really hard. It's devastating. You work all year. You want to place in the top 20, and if you have that bad game, Lexington had a double playoff in their bracket, a three-way tie, so it looked like maybe they had to play 2 playoff games. I had to do that once, and we actually ended up in Challenger that year, and that was extremely disappointing. Then we ended up in a 4-way tie for first place in Challenger bracket, which was pretty wild, and we did another double playoff round there. So Lexington had a 119, Bellevue a 119, Rapid City a 115 point average, and Hyattsville 111. These averages will all increase in Challenger bracket because they're not going to be playing all of those top 5, top 10 teams, which are going to diminish everyone's point totals. Even when they play each other, the point totals are usually cut way down low when they're playing harder teams. So I think of these teams, Marietta has, greatly beloved, has the highest chance of winning because they really know how to optimize a little slower hit speed that is common in the Challenger bracket. It is a slower game in Challenger, and if you can slow down a little bit and maximize your points, get that accuracy up, and collect those high point totals, you're going to win more rounds. And I think Marietta is really good at this. They've been good at this. They have very good accuracy, and their hit speed is good, but not that like Brookbank, you just can't beat them. You're just hoping that the Brookbanks hit too fast for you. But like that level of speed comes with risks. Now the Brookbanks obviously quizzed an incredible game today, and I'm really looking forward to those to see how things go. As far as which team is going to win, and which individual is going to land on top, I think it's anybody's game. Leah Grise, though, has an impressive 10-pointer game, and I think she's going to continue to have an impressive 10-pointer game, and I think she might end up landing on top for 10s, but we'll see. There were a couple teams that ended up in the upper 190 average. Here you have Marietta, Georgia More Than Conquerors, and Springfield, Missouri Ramses with a 198 average. Now, last year the Ramses average was very low in the prelim day, and then they cleaned up and tied for first last year, the second day, and that's quite possible for a lot of the teams here that had lower averages or lower placements. They'll clean up, they'll have a better day tomorrow. And the longevity of the week, which the Ramsey family, some of these families and teams that have been in it for multiple years, they know how to keep their cool and to play the game over the long haul, the marathon of the week. Yeah, we get into last year, okay. You can see, let's just swing down here real quick to, okay, so the Ramses last year had a 178 average during the competition. More Than Conquerors a 196 point average. Then you go up to the actual championship round, okay, and you have them with a 202 point average. A dramatic uptick, 30 point average increase from prelim to the actual tournament. And that's pretty uncommon, especially when you move into championship. Usually the averages will drop in championship, and for the top teams in Challenger, or actually most of the teams in Challenger, the averages will boost up. So Ramsey family could surprise us tomorrow with another really monstrous average. The Brookbanks last year had a 188 average in the championship division, and the first day they had a really, really high average. I think it was, 241 average the first day. So a big drop in the second day, which is pretty standard. Like this is what we're expecting. Like let's look at Swedesboro, 156 average last year in the prelims. You go into the championship, and you get into Swedesboro with a 125 average, which is that typical drop. Old Wives' Tale, Utica, Last year in championship, they had a 174 average in their prelim day. This is a two-person team. Here it is. We found them. They had a 222-point average, so a 50-point drop from prelim to the championship, which is more typical. The Ramseys did something totally crazy last year by just pedal to the metal, increasing their average on the second day. But the two-man teams like Utica, they were extremely good last year. It's very difficult over the long haul not to have those small mistakes that cost you the game, because you can't, with a two-person team, you can't really have one of your quizzers have a bad game. Although the Brookbanks are extremely good, they're a two-person team, and if anyone has a chance, it's the Brookbanks for a two-person team winning out the tournament. And here you see last year, Utica had the #1 quizzer and the #2 quizzer. Brookbanks this year had a 3 and 4 quizzer, but still really good. And the Brookbanks, they've won nationals twice, and this could be their year to collect a 3rd win, which would be incredible. So, all right, that's all I have to say, and I thank you for joining. I will give an update tomorrow after the first day. I won't do a lunch update, but we will do after the tournament is done. I'll do some highlights, and I hope you enjoy. If you enjoyed, please feel free to subscribe and follow, or you can like the video, and yeah, we'll see you next time. All right.